Right now, as you're watching this video, something unprecedented is happening that could change America forever. While you were going about your daily life, sleeping, working, spending time with family, a series of events has been set in motion that will impact every single American in ways most people can't even imagine. Are you truly ready for what's coming? Do you believe the official narrative, the placid assurances from Washington D.C., that everything is under control? What if I told you that the very architects of our financial future have been systematically obscuring a devastating truth? A truth that, when fully revealed, will send shockwaves through every household in all 50 states. The latest inflation numbers, casually brushed aside by mainstream media, are just the tip of a rapidly melting iceberg. Our national debt, skyrocketing past $34 trillion, isn't just a number on a screen. It's a ticking time bomb for your savings, your job, your retirement. What I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about the stability of our nation. This isn't just another economic forecast. This is an urgent exposé of deliberate actions and profound omissions by those sworn to protect our prosperity. Stay with me, because ignoring this information isn't an option. The clock is ticking, and the truth, once hidden, is now screaming to be heard. For decades, the American dream has been built on a foundation of perceived stability, a system that, while imperfect, promised growth and opportunity. But behind the polished press conferences and carefully crafted statements from Washington, D.C., a different reality has been brewing. A crisis years in the making. Since the financial meltdown of 2008, our leaders implemented policies designed to stimulate growth, pouring trillions into the economy through unprecedented quantitative easing. These actions, initially presented as temporary measures, became entrenched. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet ballooned from less than $1 trillion to over $8 trillion, effectively printing money at an astonishing rate. This wasn't just abstract finance, it was a fundamental rewiring of our economic landscape, creating a dependency on cheap money and artificial stimulus. We saw brief periods of growth, yes, but beneath the surface, the structural integrity of our economy was being hollowed out. Now the chickens are coming home to roost. The global supply chain shocks of the past few years, coupled with an aggressive shift in monetary policy, have simply accelerated what was already an inevitable trajectory. Every dollar you earn buys less. Every asset you own is under threat, and every plan you've made for your future is on shakier ground than you realize. This isn't about blaming a single political party. It's about a systemic failure, a bipartisan consensus to kick the can down the road, to postpone the inevitable reckoning. Confidential reports, whispered by veteran analysts within the Treasury Department, suggest that high-level officials have been privately modeling worst-case scenarios far more dire than anything publicly discussed. One such internal projection, reportedly dubbed Project Cassandra, estimates a potential 20–25% devaluation of the dollar within the next 18 months under current policy trajectories. This isn't fear-mongering. It's the cold, hard analysis, suppressed by political convenience. They know the truth. They're just not telling you. We've seen it firsthand, from leaked memos to quiet resignations of those who couldn't stomach the deception. The mechanisms of denial are deeply embedded within the very institutions designed to protect us. The numbers don't lie, even if the narratives they feed us do. The crisis isn't coming. It's already here, disguised as transitory inflation and robust job growth. But here's the twist, the first of 10 critical truths they are hiding from you. Points that reveal the true scope of the looming economic collapse. Number 1. The Federal Reserve's deliberate deception on inflation. For months, the central bank leadership insisted rising prices were transitory, a temporary blip. This was a lie. The truth they concealed is that the inflation we're experiencing is deep, structural, and relentless, eating away at your purchasing power right now. This means your wages are effectively stagnant, and your cost of living is soaring, a trend escalating over the next 12 to 18 months. The economic impact is staggering. Expert analysis suggests the real inflation rate is 2 to 3 times the official consumer price index, imposing a hidden tax of hundreds of dollars per month on average households, potentially costing you tens of thousands in lost savings over just a few years. Imagine your annual expenses jumping by $5,000, not because you spent more, but because your money buys less. This impacts every family, from California to New York, gutting savings accounts meant for retirement or a child's education. This will shock you. Internal Fed models, allegedly suppressed, showed clear indicators of supply-side and demand-side inflation merging into a destructive feedback loop as early as late 2021. They knew the transitory narrative was unsustainable, but maintained it to avoid market panic, effectively sacrificing long-term stability for short-term calm. Number 2. The Treasury Department's silence on the debt bomb. The Treasury Secretary and the architects of our fiscal policy have remained eerily quiet about the true unsustainability of our national debt and its crippling servicing costs. The truth hidden is that we are on an express train to a potential sovereign debt crisis, crowding out private investment and setting the stage for higher taxes and drastically reduced government services. The critical point is within 2 to 3 years, as interest rates continue to rise, debt rollovers will become astronomical. The economic impact, interest payments on the national debt, could exceed defense spending, topping $1.5 trillion annually by 2026. This forces impossible choices between funding Social Security, Medicare, or even basic military readiness. This means less money for infrastructure, education, or even essential services for your community. Higher taxes are coming, disguised as fiscal responsibility measures. Your local roads might crumble, schools might face cuts, and critical public services could diminish. It's a slow strangulation of public good, affecting everything from your daily commute in Texas to your healthcare options in Ohio. A classified Congressional Budget Office (CBO) analysis, purportedly leaked through back channels, revealed that current fiscal trajectories lead to a debt spiral within the decade, necessitating either unprecedented tax hikes or massive spending cuts, neither of which is politically palatable, yet unavoidable. They've known this cliff was approaching for years. Number 3. Congressional leadership's denial of the spending spree's consequences. Despite the clear economic indicators, the leadership in both houses of Congress has continued to authorize unprecedented spending bills, openly denying their direct link to inflation and our exploding national debt. The truth they conceal is that every new trillion-dollar bill passed accelerates currency devaluation and erodes faith in our fiscal governance, a continuous trend. The economic impact is immediate and continuous. Each trillion-dollar bill passed adds significant inflationary pressure, conservatively estimated to add another 0.5% to 1% to annual inflation. This translates to an additional $600 to $1,200 per year per household in hidden costs. Your wages stagnate while prices soar. Your hard-earned money simply doesn't stretch as far. Imagine trying to make ends meet in Florida or Arizona when every grocery trip feels like an act of financial gymnastics. Your retirement plans become a fantasy as your savings are systematically eroded. You won't believe what happens next. Lobbyist groups, many with deep ties to congressional leaders, have allegedly received assurances that massive spending will continue, regardless of economic indicators, to fund pet projects and secure political favors, effectively trading national solvency for re-election campaigns. Number 4. The executive branch's green transition illusion. The White House economic advisors and energy policy shapers are pushing an aggressive, accelerated energy transition while hiding its true crippling costs and severe logistical challenges. The truth they're suppressing leads to inevitable energy insecurity, skyrocketing utility bills for every American, and a devastating decline in vital industries. We're already feeling the effects, and the critical crunch point is in 3 to 5 years. The economic impact is chilling. Average household energy costs are projected to increase by 25–40% over 5 years, translating to hundreds, even thousands, more annually. Industries relying on affordable energy, from manufacturing in the Midwest to agriculture in the Plains, face significant downturns. Your monthly electric bill in California, your gas bill in Pennsylvania. Prepare for sticker shock. Job losses are coming in traditional energy sectors, and the promised transition jobs may not materialize at the same scale or with comparable pay. It's a direct hit on your wallet and your community's stability. Internal Department of Energy reports, supposedly reviewed by top White House staff, detailed the severe strain on the national grid and the massive infrastructure investments required, far exceeding public estimates, and the high likelihood of intermittent power supply. This inconvenient truth was reportedly sidelined for political messaging. Number 5. The Department of Commerce's silence on the trade deficit. The Secretary of Commerce and our trade representatives consistently downplay the worsening trade deficit, hiding its dire long-term implications for national wealth and stability. The truth hidden is that we are systematically exporting American jobs and becoming dangerously reliant on foreign manufacturing, leaving us vulnerable to devastating supply chain disruptions. This is a persistent, worsening trend over the next 5–10 years. The economic impact: a sustained trade deficit exceeding $800 billion annually means billions of dollars leaving the U.S. economy, leading to a shrinking manufacturing base and reduced domestic job creation. This directly impacts job security for millions. Fewer good-paying manufacturing jobs in states like Michigan or North Carolina, higher prices for imported goods due to tariffs or currency fluctuations. Your daily life becomes more dependent on unpredictable global supply chains, leading to shortages of everything from electronics to pharmaceuticals. Sounds unreal? It's absolutely real. Confidential reports from the Department of Commerce, allegedly buried, show that current trade agreements and foreign policy stances actively discourage American production in key sectors rather than bolstering it, cementing a cycle of dependence that benefits foreign powers at America's expense. Number 6. The Department of Labor's misleading unemployment figures. The Secretary of Labor and their statisticians present a picture of robust job growth, but they are hiding the real rate of unemployment and underemployment, masked by official metrics. The truth they conceal is widespread economic insecurity, declining living standards for millions, and an increased reliance on social safety nets that are already stretched thin. This is already a significant issue, projected to worsen in the next 6 to 12 months. The economic impact: the real unemployment rate, known as U6, which includes discouraged workers and those working part-time for economic reasons, is often double the headline rate, impacting millions of households and reducing aggregate demand by hundreds of billions. This means less money circulating in your local economy, hurting small businesses. Your neighbors losing jobs, finding only gig work, or being forced to take significant pay cuts. Increased competition for limited positions. Imagine the pressure on families in Georgia or Arizona when two incomes are needed, but only one is stable or both are precarious. Internal Bureau of Labor Statistics discussions, allegedly suppressed by political appointees, highlighted the growing divergence between the official U3 unemployment rate and more comprehensive measures, demonstrating a deliberate effort to present a rosier economic picture than reality supported. Number 7. The intelligence community's geo-economic blind spots. The directors of national intelligence and the CIA are tasked with protecting America, yet they are hiding the profound underestimation of global economic threats and their direct, immediate impact on U.S. stability. The truth concealed is that we are dangerously unprepared for black swan economic events, leading to a misallocation of resources and strategic vulnerabilities that could cripple our financial system. The timeline is unpredictable, but the lack of preparedness makes any global shock immediately impactful. The economic impact? Failure to anticipate major shifts in global power dynamics or financial warfare could lead to sudden capital flight, market crashes, or severe supply chain disruptions, costing trillions. Imagine a sudden digital currency collapse or a major cyber attack on financial institutions. Your bank accounts could be frozen, your access to cash limited. It's a systemic risk that threatens the very fabric of daily commerce, from your local grocery store in rural Kansas to the bustling markets of Los Angeles. Classified assessments, reportedly from within the intelligence community, warned of a coordinated effort by rival global powers to strategically decouple from the US dollar and undermine its reserve currency status, a threat consistently downplayed or ignored at the highest levels of government. Number 8. The SEC and other regulatory bodies' complicity. The Securities and Exchange Commission and other financial regulators are supposed to protect investors, but they are hiding their inadequate oversight, which is leading to systemic risk, particularly in opaque financial markets. The truth they conceal is unchecked speculation and the potential for another financial crisis that could make 2008 look like a warm-up, eroding investor confidence to historic lows. This situation is building now, with potential trigger points within 1-3 years. The economic impact? Failure to regulate novel financial products or highly leveraged institutions creates vulnerabilities that could wipe out billions in market value, leading to devastating pension fund losses and crippling stock market instability. Your 401k, your pension, your investments are all at risk from hidden leverage and unchecked speculation. Imagine waking up to find a significant portion of your retirement savings has vanished due to a crisis nobody warned you about. This affects every American saving for the future. An internal SEC whistleblower, anonymously speaking out, detailed how politically connected firms are often granted exemptions or waivers from standard oversight, allowing them to engage in riskier behavior with little accountability, essentially creating a two-tiered system where the powerful play by different rules. Number 9. The Education Department's avoidance of the student debt crisis. The Secretary of Education and higher education policymakers are hiding the catastrophic burden of student loan debt and its massive drag on the entire American economy. The truth they conceal is that this debt is delaying homeownership, suppressing consumer spending, stifling entrepreneurship, and poses a growing risk for mass defaults. This crisis is persistent, worsening over decades. but a potential breaking point is in 1 to 2 years if forbearance ends without significant reform. The economic impact? Over $1.7 trillion in student debt acts as a massive drain, preventing young Americans from buying homes, starting businesses, or forming families, reducing economic activity by hundreds of billions annually. This impacts real estate markets, consumer goods, and the very engine of growth. It's not just the students, it's the entire economy. Fewer first-time homebuyers mean less demand for construction, furniture, appliances. If you're a small business owner, less disposable income for consumers means fewer sales. The ripple effect touches every sector, from your local hardware store in Oregon to car dealerships in Virginia. A highly critical report commissioned by a bipartisan congressional committee, reportedly buried after its initial findings, concluded that current student loan practices are unsustainable and akin to a subprime mortgage crisis in waiting, with specific warnings about disproportionate impact on minority communities and potential systemic defaults. And finally, number 10. The Department of Defense's hidden military-industrial complex drain. The Secretary of Defense and top military brass are hiding the exorbitant, unchecked spending within the defense sector and its massive opportunity cost for the domestic economy. The truth they conceal is the misallocation of national resources, inflationary pressures from bloated defense contracts, and the potential for dangerous blowback from perpetual conflict. This is an ongoing problem, escalating as global tensions rise. The economic impact: trillions spent on defense, much of it on over-budget projects and unnecessary interventions, diverts capital from productive domestic investment in infrastructure, technology, and human capital, effectively starving the civilian economy of vital resources. Each $1 billion spent on a new fighter jet could have built hundreds of miles of roads or funded thousands of teachers. Your tax dollars are going to inflated defense contracts rather than improving your local infrastructure or healthcare. Job growth is skewed towards defense industries rather than diversified, sustainable sectors. Imagine the strain on communities in Arizona or Washington where local economies become overly dependent on military bases or contractors, making them vulnerable to budget cuts or policy shifts. An unredacted portion of a GAO audit, reportedly suppressed by congressional committees with defense industry ties, revealed widespread cost overruns and rampant waste totaling hundreds of billions, suggesting that a significant portion of the defense budget is not directly contributing to national security, but rather enriching a select few. This is the ultimate hidden tax on every American. What you've just heard isn't a series of isolated incidents. It's a meticulously woven tapestry of calculated risk, strategic denial, and outright deception by those at the highest levels of power. From the Federal Reserve's inflation obfuscation to the Treasury's debt bomb silence, from Congress's unchecked spending to the executive's costly energy illusion, and the hidden truths in labor, commerce, defense, and beyond. These aren't errors. They are the systemic unraveling of America's economic bedrock. Imagine an America where your dollar is worth significantly less, where job security is a distant memory, where the cost of living outpaces your income by an unbearable margin. This isn't a hypothetical future. It's a near-term reality being engineered by policies that prioritize political expediency over economic solvency. We're talking about a nation where once stable communities from Pennsylvania to California face unprecedented strain, where retirement dreams evaporate, and where the next generation inherits a mountain of debt and a hollowed-out economy. The pessimistic scenario: a full-blown currency crisis, widespread bankruptcies, and a dramatic decline in living standards not seen since the Great Depression, mass layoffs, soaring interest rates, and a national mood of profound disillusionment. But here's the twist. It doesn't have to be an absolute collapse. A cautious optimism hinges on one thing: awareness. If enough Americans understand the truth, if we demand accountability, if we force our leaders to confront these uncomfortable realities, then perhaps, just perhaps, we can pivot. The coming months will be critical. Watch for the official inflation numbers to diverge even further from your lived experience. Pay close attention to interest rate hikes and their impact on the housing market. Look for more leaks or quiet resignations from within the federal apparatus. The truth has a way of finding its light. This is just the beginning of the information cascade. The time for complacency is over. The narrative they've constructed, the comfortable lies, are crumbling. We need to be vigilant, informed, and ready to act. So the question is, what will you do now that you know the hidden truth? Will you continue to accept the official narrative, or will you demand transparency and accountability from those in power? This isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call. Share this with every American you know. Get this information out before it's too late. The more people who are aware, the stronger our collective voice becomes. This will shock you, but it needs to be shared widely, urgently, before the full weight of this crisis bears down on every single one of us. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, if you want the unvarnished truth about what's really happening to our economy and our nation, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're tracking these developments in real time, sifting through the noise to bring you the critical intelligence you won't find anywhere else. In our next deep dive, we'll explore how foreign powers are actively exploiting America's economic vulnerabilities right now, and what that means for our national security. You won't want to miss it. The clock is ticking.